The emergency department smells like bleach and burnt coffee. Fluorescent lights hum overhead, casting everything in pale white. The automatic doors open and close, letting in bursts of cold air from the parking lot. Dr. Sarah Chen stands at the supply cart, counting IV catheters. Third time this hour. Someone keeps taking them without logging, and the day shift always blames nights. She's been here 6 months. They still call her the new resident. She's 37. Dr. Marcus Webb leans against the nurse's station, coffee in hand, talking loud enough for everyone to hear. 2 residents stand beside him, laughing at something he just said. So I told the attending, if you can't read an EKG, maybe cardiology isn't your specialty. More laughter, forced, performative. Sarah doesn't look up, just keeps counting. Nurse Davis walks past, clipboard pressed against her chest. Dr. Chen, when you're finished with inventory, room 9 needs discharge papers. Not a question, a directive. Sarah nods without turning. Davis's heels click away down the corridor. Sarah finishes counting, logs the numbers on the tablet, moves to the next cart. Dr. Webb glances over, sees her. Chen, you planning to organize the whole department, or can we actually get some work done? The residents snicker. Sarah closes the drawer, picks up the tablet. Room 9, I'm on it. She walks past them without making eye contact. Webb shakes his head. Says something under his breath. The residents laugh again. Sarah keeps walking. Room 9 is a middle-aged man with kidney stones, stable, pain-controlled, ready to go home. She reviews his chart on the tablet, then steps inside. Mr. Hastings, how's the pain? Better. That medication helped. Good. I'm going to send you home with a prescription and a strainer. You'll need to catch the stone when it passes. How long will that take? Could be a few days, could be a week. If the pain gets worse or you develop a fever, come back immediately. He nods. She prints the discharge instructions, hands them over, and explains everything twice. He signs. She logs it. 15 minutes later, he's gone. Sarah returns to the nurse's station. Dr. Webb is still there, scrolling through his phone. Took you long enough. She doesn't respond, just picks up the next chart. A woman in her 60s, chest pain, possible angina. Sarah heads to room 4. The patient is sitting upright, oxygen cannula in her nose. EKG leads across her chest, monitor beeping steadily. Mrs. Dalton, I'm Dr. Chen. Tell me about your chest pain. It started an hour ago, right here. She touches her sternum. Feels tight, like pressure. Sarah listens to her heart. Lungs. Checks the EKG on the monitor. Normal sinus rhythm. No ST elevation. No obvious ischemia. But the woman's sweating, pale, slightly short of breath. Sarah pulls up the labs on the tablet. Troponin pending. We're going to keep you here for observation. I've ordered some blood tests. If those come back normal, we'll do a stress test. Is it my heart? Maybe. We'll find out. The woman nods, anxious but trusting. Sarah reassures her, adjusts the oxygen, and steps out. At the workstation, she logs her notes, orders a repeat troponin in 3 hours. Nurse Kelly approaches. Dr. Chen, the trauma bay needs restocking. Can you handle it? Sarah looks up. Trauma bay restocking isn't a doctor's job, but she doesn't argue. Sure. She walks to the supply room, grabs gloves, gauze, intubation kits, carries them to Trauma Bay 2. Dr. Webb is standing near. At the door, talking to an attending. He sees her carrying supplies. Look at that. Chen's finally found her calling. The attending doesn't laugh, just glances at Sarah, then back at Webb. Sarah sets the supplies on the counter, stocks the drawers methodically, everything in its place, easy to find, ready to use. She's done this before, in tents, in deserts, in places where hesitation meant death. But no one here knows that. She finishes and leaves without a word. In the break room. She pours herself coffee. Black. Too hot. She drinks it anyway. On her left wrist, just below her watch, there's a scar. Thin, pale, precise. She doesn't hide it, doesn't explain it. Dr. Tatel enters, grabs a granola bar from the vending machine. Hey, Chen. Hey. You okay? Webb's been writing you all week. I'm fine. You don't have to take his crap, you know? She sips her coffee, burns her tongue. I'm not here to fight. I'm here to work. Tatel unwraps his granola bar. Yeah, well, don't let him forget you're a doctor too. He leaves. Sarah sits alone at the corner table. Her hands are steady. They've always been steady. She finishes her coffee, throws the cup away, goes back to work. Later, a trauma comes in. Car accident. Driver and passenger, both conscious. Minor injuries. Dr. Webb takes the lead. Sarah assists. The driver has a laceration on his forehead. Superficial. Needs stitches. Sarah preps the suture kit while Webb examines the wound. Chen, you ever done sutures before? Yes. Good. Then you can close this. I'll check on the passenger. He walks away. Sarah irrigates the wound, injects lidocaine, waits for it to numb. The driver watches her. You knew? Sort of. You seem like you know what you're doing. She picks up the needle driver. I do. The sutures go in clean, even, precise. The driver doesn't flinch. When she's done, she applies antibiotic ointment and a bandage. You're all set. Keep it dry for 48 hours. Come back in a week to get the stitches out. Thanks, Doc. She logs the procedure and moves on. At the end of her shift, Sarah changes in the locker room. Inside her locker, there's a photograph. Small, folded once. 4 people in tan uniforms, desert in the background, smiling. She looks at it for a long moment, then folds it again, puts it back, closes the locker, locks it, leaves. Outside, the sky is dark. Cold air bites at her face. She gets in her car, sits in silence. Her hands rest on the steering wheel. Steady, always steady. She drives home. The night shift is quieter. Fewer patients, dimmer lights. The hospital hums with a different rhythm after midnight. Sarah walks the corridor, reviewing charts on her tablet. Every room, every patient. Vital signs, medication times. Small details others might miss. She passes room 11. Elderly man, pneumonia, oxygen at 3 liters. She checks the flow meter, adjusts it slightly. He doesn't wake. At the nurse's station, Kelly yawns into her coffee. You don't have to round again. Webb already signed off hours ago. I know. Then why do you keep doing it? Sarah doesn't answer, just continues down the hall. Room 12, room 13, room 14. Every IV line checked, every monitor reviewed, every breath accounted for. It's a habit she can't break. The supply closet door is half open. She needs more alcohol swabs for the med cart. She steps inside. Reaches for the top shelf. The fluorescent light flickers. Just once, but it's enough. The hum changes, deepens, becomes the low throb of a generator running. Geon fumes. Sarah's hand freezes mid-reach. The air smells different. Dust, heat, copper. She's not in the closet anymore. She's in a tent. Canvas walls, sand everywhere. Temperature pushing 115 degrees. Someone screaming. Not English. Arabic. Panicked. Her hands are moving. Gloves slick with blood. Chest open, ribs spread, heart visible, beating too fast. Captain Chen, I need more suction. A voice, familiar. Lieutenant Webb. No, not Webb. Someone else. The light steadies. Sarah blinks. She's staring at a box of alcohol swabs. Her hand is still raised, fingers trembling slightly. She lowers her arm, grabs the box, closes the door behind her. In the hallway, she leans against the wall, breathes. 4 counts in. Hold. 4 counts out. Again. The smell fades. The heat fades. But the sound lingers. It always lingers. Dr. Patel rounds the corner, nearly collides with her. Whoa, sorry. You good? Sarah straightens, smooths her coat. Fine. He studies her face. You sure? You look pale. I'm fine. He doesn't push, just nods and walks away. Sarah stands alone for a moment longer, then goes back to work. Room 6 needs pain medication. Post-surgical patient, appendectomy, 2 days out. Sarah reviews the chart. Last dose of morphine was 4 hours ago. He's due. She prepares the syringe. 2 milligrams IV push. Her hands are steady again. They always come back. She enters the room. The patient is awake, grimacing. Pain level? About a 7. She injects the medication slowly, watches his face relax as it takes effect. Better? Yeah, much better. Thanks. She logs the dose and leaves. At the nurse's station, she updates the chart, notes the time, signs off. Nurse Davis approaches. Chen, you ever take a break? When I need to. You've been on your feet for 9 hours. I'm fine. Davis shakes her head. You move like military. You know that? Sarah's jaw tightens. Just slightly. I'm not military. Could have fooled me. You've got that look. Like you're always scanning for threats. Sarah doesn't respond. Just picks up the next chart. Davis leaves. Sarah sits down. Closes her eyes for just a moment. Her hands rest flat on the desk, perfectly still. In the break room an hour later, she pours another coffee. The pot's nearly empty. Burnt smell. She drinks it anyway. Dr. Patel enters again, looking for sugar packets. You're still here? So are you. He laughs, tired. Fair point. He stows his coffee. Hey, can I ask you something? Sure. Where'd you do your residency? Sarah hesitates. Just a fraction of a second. County program, downtown. Which one? Does it matter? He shrugs. Just curious. You've got skills most residents don't have yet. Like you've been doing this for years. I've been doing this long enough. He sips his coffee, watches her. You're hard to figure out, Chen. Good. He laughs again, leaves. Sarah sits in silence. Her left wrist itches. She scratches absent-mindedly at the scar. Thin, pale, surgical precision. Not an accident. Not self-inflicted. Shrapnel removal. Field operation. No anesthesia. She stops scratching, finishes her coffee, goes back to the floor. A code blue is called overhead. Room 18. Sarah runs. Dr. Webb is already there. Nurse Kelly's doing compressions. Monitor shows flatline. What happened? Webb demands. He was stable 10 minutes ago, Kelly says between compressions. Then he just arrested. Webb checks the airway. Bag mask ventilation. Push 1 milligram epi. Charge the defibrillator. Fibrillator to 200. Sarah steps in, scans the room. The patient, the monitor, the IV lines. Something's wrong. Stop compressions, she says. Kelly hesitates, looks at Webb. Keep going, Webb orders. Stop, Sarah repeats. Louder. Webb glares at her. Chen, what the hell are you? Check his neck veins. Webb pauses, looks. The veins are distended, bulging. Sarah moves closer. He's at tension pneumothorax. The chest tube's clogged. Webb's face changes. How do you? Flush the tube. Now. Now. Kelly stops compressions, moves to the chest tube, flushes it with saline. Blood and clot material pour out into the collection chamber. The monitor beats. A rhythm appears. Pulse. Weak but present. Blood pressure climbing. The patient gasps. Eyes flutter. Silence in the room. Webb stares at Sarah. How did you know? She doesn't answer, just steps back. He's stable. Keep monitoring. She walks out. In the hallway, her hands are shaking. She clenches them into fists. Breathes. 4 counts in. Hold. 4 counts out. At the end of the shift, Sarah returns to the locker room, opens her locker. The photograph is still there. She takes it out, unfolds it slowly. 4 faces. Captain Sarah Chen, Lieutenant Marcus Webb, Sergeant Okonkwo, Corporal Diaz, all smiling. 3 of them are dead. She stares at the face next to hers. Lieutenant Webb. Not the Webb here. Different person. Same name. He died in her arms. Roadside bomb. Femoral artery severed. She couldn't stop the bleeding. She folds the photo, puts it back, closes the locker, leaves. Outside the sun is rising. Orange light bleeding across the horizon. Sarah stands in the parking lot, breathes the cold air. For a moment, she lets herself remember. Then she gets in her car, drives home, and tries to forget. The ambulance bay doors slam open at 08:47 hours. Paramedic Brooks jumps out, already shouting, GSW to the chest, male, mid-60s, stable but critical. Sustained at a private shooting range. Single round, right thorax, through and through. BP dropping fast, 90/60 when we loaded him, now 85/55. The gurney crashes through the entrance. Dr. Webb is up front, gloves already on. Trauma bay 2, move. Sarah's at the workstation. She looks up, sees the patient. Gray hair, broad shoulders, face twisted in pain but eyes sharp. Aware. Uniform jacket draped across his chest. Name tape visible, even from a distance. Colonel J. Brennan. Her stomach tightens. She sets down the tablet and follows. Trauma bay 2 is chaos within seconds. They transfer him to the bed. Monitors scream to life. BP 82/50. Pulse 128. Oxygen saturation 87%. Nurse Kelly cuts away his shirt. Blood-soaked. Dark red. Too much. Entry wound right chest, 4th intercostal space. Small, clean. Exit wound posterior. Lateral to the spine. Larger. Ragged edges. Webb's hands move fast. 2 large bore IVs. Hang O- wide open. Get me a portable chest x-ray now. Someone page surgery. Dr. Reyes enters. Attending physician, calm under pressure. Talk to me. GSW, through and through right hemithorax, likely lung involvement, possible vascular injury. He's hypotensive and tachycardic. The monitor beeps. BP 78/48. Reyes swears under his breath. He's bleeding into the chest cavity. We need a tube thoracostomy. Webb nods, grabs the chest tube kit. Sarah steps closer, eyes locked on the wound trajectory. Entry high, exit low and posterior. The angle's wrong. She's seen this before, twice, both times in the field. Colonel Brennan turns his head, sees her standing there. His voice is rough, strained, but clear. I want a different doctor. Webb doesn't look up, prepping the insertion site. Sir, we're in the middle of saving your life. Not her. Everyone stops, just for a heartbeat. Webb glances at Sarah, then back at Brennan. Colonel, Dr. Chen is highly capable. I don't care. Get someone else. Reyes steps forward, professional, steady. So, we don't have time for preferences right now. Then make time. Sarah's face doesn't change. No anger, no hurt. She steps back. I'll observe from here. Webb hesitates, then nods. Fine. Kelly, hand me the scalpel. Sarah watches from the edge of the bay. Arms crossed. Silent. Webb makes the incision at the 5th intercostal space, mid-axillary line. He dissects down, finds the pleura, punctures it, inserts the tube. Blood pours into the collection chamber. 800 milliliters, 900, 1100. The flow doesn't slow. Monitor beeps again. BP 74/45. Pulse 135. Webb's face tightens. It's not stopping. Reyes leans in. You sure the tube's in the right place? I think so. Maybe it's kinked. Check it. Webb adjusts the tube, rotates it slightly. Blood keeps pouring. Sarah's eyes are fixed on the exit wound. The trajectory, the angle. She knows what they're missing. It's not the lung. Webb looks up, frustrated. What? The bullet didn't just hit the lung. It fragmented. Secondary projectile tracked upward and nicked the subclavian artery. Webb shakes his head. That's impossible. The entry wound's too low for subclavian involvement. The bullet broke apart on impact with the rib. I've seen it before. Reyes frowns. How do you know? Because I've treated it. Twice. The monitor alarms. BP 68/40. Pulse 148. Colonel Brennan's eyes start to flutter. Webb's hands hover over the patient, uncertain. Sarah steps forward. We're losing him. Reyes looks at her, then at the monitor. 2 seconds of calculation. Then he nods. Do it. Webb stares. You're letting her? She's right. Move aside. Sarah's already at the table, gloves snapping on. Her voice changes, steady, commanding, no hesitation. Kelly, vascular tray. Reyes, call the OR and tell them we're cracking the chest. Patel, push another unit ONEG and start tranexamic acid, 1 gram over 10 minutes. Everyone moves. No questions, no delays. She picks up the scalpel, looks down at Colonel Brennan. His eyes meet hers, barely conscious, confused. She doesn't smile, doesn't reassure, just cuts. The incision is clean, fast, 4th intercostal space, extended anterolaterally, rib spreader in. She cranks it open. The lung is visible, pink, partially collapsed. Small laceration but not life-threatening. She retracts it gently. There, subclavian artery, posterior branch, a 2 millimeter tear, pulsing blood with every heartbeat. Clamp. Kelly hands it to her without a word. Sarah places it. Precise, controlled. The bleeding stops. Instant silence except for the monitors. BP stabilizes. 82/52. Then 88/56. Pulse slowing. 118. 110. Reyes exhales. Jesus. Sarah's already suturing the artery. Her hands move like they never stopped doing this. Like the last 6 months were just a pause. Webb stands frozen, watching. Where the hell did you learn to do that? Sarah doesn't answer. Doesn't look up. Just keeps suturing. The repair takes 4 minutes. She inspects it. No bleeding. Clamp comes off. Artery holds. She irrigates the chest cavity. Places a second drain. Begins closing. Losing the incision, Reyes assists. Silent, respectful. When she's finished, Colonel Brennan is stable. BP 95/62. Pulse 98. Oxygen saturation climbing to 94%. Sarah strips off her gloves, steps back. He'll need ICU monitoring. Keep him intubated for at least 12 hours. Repeat chest X-ray in 2 hours. Reyes nods. Understood. Webb is still staring at her. Chen, that was. She walks past him, out of the trauma bay, down the hall, into the supply closet. She closes the door behind her, leans against the wall. Her hands are shaking now. She looks down at them, covered in blood. She closes her eyes, breathes. 4 counts in, hold. 4 counts out. The shaking stops. She opens her eyes, washes her hands in the small sink, blood swirling down the drain. When she's done, she dries them, looks at herself in the small mirror. Same face, different person. She leaves the closet, goes back to work, at the nurse's station. Nurse Kelly approaches quietly. Dr. Chen. Sarah looks up. That was the most incredible thing I've ever seen. Sarah saves the chart she was working on. It was necessary. Where did you learn that? Sarah closes the tablet. It doesn't matter. She walks away. Kelly watches her go. For the first time, there's no judgment in her eyes, just respect. Colonel Brennan wakes in the ICU 14 hours later. The ventilator tube comes out at 1100 hours. He coughs, gasps, breathes on his own. Nurse Garcia adjusts his oxygen cannula. Welcome back, Colonel. You're doing great. He doesn't respond, just stares at the ceiling. Everything hurts, but he's alive. He shouldn't be. Sarah reviews his chart outside the unit. Post-op labs are stable. Hemoglobin holding at 9.4. No signs of rebleeding. Chest tube output minimal. She pushes open the door, steps inside. Colonel Brennan turns his head slowly, sees her. His jaw tightens. You. Sarah stops at the foot of the bed, expression neutral. Colonel Brennan, how's your pain? Tolerable. Good. Your vitals are stable. Labs look promising. If the chest tube output stays low, we'll remove it tomorrow. He says nothing, just watches her. She makes notes on the tablet. Professional. Detached. Any questions? Yeah. His voice is rough from the tube, scratchy. Why didn't you listen? She looks up. Excuse me? I told them I didn't want you, and you operated anyway. Sarah's face remains calm. You were dying, Colonel. I didn't have the luxury of honoring preferences. That's not how medicine works. In my trauma bay, it's exactly how it works. His eyes narrow. Your trauma bay? She doesn't answer, just closes the chart. Get some rest, Colonel. She turns toward the door. Wait. She stops, doesn't turn around. What's your full name? A pause. Dr. Sarah Chen. No, your real name. Her hand tightens on the tablet. That is my real name. Captain Sarah Chen. The air goes still. Sarah's shoulders tense, just slightly. You're mistaken. No. His voice is stronger now. Focused. I'm not. He shifts in the bed, winces but pushes through. 4th Forward Surgical Team, Helmand Province, 2012. Sarah's throat tightens. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, you do. You saved my executive officer, Lieutenant Granger. IED blast. Right leg traumatic amputation. Arterial bleed. You clamped the femoral in the field and kept him alive long enough to get him to Bagram. Her breath stops. I put you in for a commendation. You refused it. Silence. She can't move. Colonel. Nell Brennan leans forward despite the pain. Captain Chen, it is you. Her hands are shaking again. She presses them flat against her sides. I need to check on other patients. She leaves. The door closes behind her. In the hallway, she leans against the wall, heart pounding, breathing shallow. Dr. Patel walks past, stops. Chen, you okay? She straightens immediately. Fine. You don't look fine. I said I'm fine. He raises his hands. Okay, just checking. He walks away. Sarah stands alone. The past isn't buried. It never was. By midday, word spreads. Nurse Kelly whispers to Nurse Davis at the station. Did you hear? That colonel in the ICU knows Dr. Chen. Davis looks up from her keyboard. Knows her how? Military. He called her captain. Davis stops typing. Captain? That's what Garcia heard. She was Army. Davis leans back in her chair. Chen was in the Army? Apparently. And not just any position. Forward Surgical Team. Davis processes this. That explains a lot. In the break room, Dr. Webb sits across from Dr. Patel. Is it true? Webb asks. Is what true? That Chen was military. Patel shrugs. That's what people are saying. Webb stares into his coffee. She cracked a chest like she'd done it 1,000 times. Maybe she has. Webb looks up. What? Maybe she has done it 1,000 times. You see how she moves, how she thinks? That's not something you learn in a residency program. Webb is quiet. Why wouldn't she tell anyone? Maybe she didn't want to be defined by it. At 14:45 hours, Sarah returns to Colonel Brennan's room. He's sitting up now, color returning, eating soft foods. He sees her enter. Captain. It's doctor. Not to me. She checks his vitals on the monitor. Doesn't look at him. Your oxygen saturation is good. Respiratory rate normal. You're recovering well. Thanks to you. She doesn't respond. Why didn't you tell anyone? He asks. Tell them what? That you were 4th FST, that you served 2 deployments, that you're one of the best trauma surgeons I've ever seen. Because it's not relevant. Not relevant? He almost laughs, then winces. Chen, you just saved my life using skills you learned in a war zone. How is that not relevant? She finally looks at him. Because I don't want to be Captain Chen anymore. I want to be Dr. Chen. I want to treat patients who can be saved. Not soldiers who are already gone. Is that why you left? Her jaw tightens. I left because I was tired of losing people. We all lost people. I lost my entire team. The words hang in the air. Colonel Brennan's expression softens. I didn't know. No one does, and I'd like to keep it that way. She turns to leave. Captain. She stops. For what it's worth, I'm sorry. For what I said when I came in. I didn't know. You couldn't have. And I'm grateful you saved my life. She nods once, then leaves. That evening, Dr. Reyes finds her in the locker room. Chen. She looks up from tying her shoes. Yeah? Can we talk? About what? He sits on the bench across from her. About this morning. About what you did. I did my job. No, you did more than that. You made a call no one else in that room would have made, and you were right. She doesn't respond. How many times have you done a thoracotomy? She hesitates. I don't know. I stopped counting. Ballpark. Maybe 100, maybe more. Reyes exhales slowly. And you've been here 6 months, letting people treat you like you're fresh out of medical Cal school. I am fresh out of residency, but you're not fresh out of experience. She stands, closes her locker. My experience doesn't matter here. It does when it saves lives. She faces him. I came here to start over, not to relive the worst years of my life. I get that, but hiding who you are doesn't help anyone. It helps me. She walks past him. He doesn't stop her. Outside, the parking lot is nearly empty. Sarah sits in her car, engine off, hands on the wheel. She thinks about Colonel Brennan, about Lieutenant Granger, about her team, about all the people she couldn't save, and the one she did today. She starts the engine, drives home. Inside her apartment, she opens the closet, pulls down a box from the top shelf. Inside, her uniform, folded, pressed, her captain's bars, her combat patch, her dog tags, and beneath it all, a commendation certificate for exceptional skill and courage under fire, signed by Colonel J. Brennan. She never accepted it, but she kept it. She sits on the floor, stares at the uniform, and for the first time in 6 months, she doesn't feel ashamed. She feels something else, something like pride. 3 days later, the emergency department is unusually quiet. Sarah finishes charting a routine case. Sprained ankle, ice and elevation, nothing complicated. Nurse Kelly refills the supply cart nearby. Think we'll make it through the night without drama? Sarah doesn't answer. She learned long ago not to tempt fate. The radio crackles at 22:15 hours. County General, this is Medic 4. Inbound with mass casualty from industrial accident. Structural collapse at a construction site. Multiple victims. ETA 6 minutes. First patient is a male, late 20s, crush injury to lower extremities and pelvis. BP 68 over palp, pulse 152, and thready. Kelly straightens immediately. The radio continues. Second patient is female, early 40s. Penetrating abdominal trauma from rebar impalement. Conscious, but deteriorating. Third patient is male, mid-50s. Blunt chest trauma with respiratory distress. Dr. Reyes emerges from the back office. Activate MCI protocol. I want all available beds cleared now. Page surgery, orthopedics, and interventional radiology. Webb, you take the crush injury. Chen, the impalement is yours. I'll handle chest trauma. Sarah's already moving. Understood. The doors burst open moments later. Sirens, flashing lights, organized chaos. Paramedics wheel in the first patient. Young man, Carlos Mendez, age 28. Trapped under concrete for 40 minutes. His pelvis is destroyed. Both femurs fractured. Blood pooling beneath the gurney. Dr. Wed takes position. Trauma Bay 1, go. The second gurney comes through. Rebecca Hartman, age 42. Steel rebar, 3/4 inch diameter, protruding from her left upper abdomen. Entry anterior, exit posterior through the flank. She's awake, terrified. Am I going to die? Sarah meets her eyes. Calm, steady. Not today. They move her into Trauma Bay 2. Sarah's voice cuts through the noise. 2 large-bore IVs. Type and cross for 8 units. Portable X-ray and ultrasound immediately. Page surgery and tell them we're going to the OR in less than 10 minutes. Nurse Garcia moves without hesitation. Sarah examines the entry wound. The rebar is stabilized with trauma dressings, but it shifts slightly with each breath. Left upper quadrant, likely liver, possibly stomach, maybe spleen. The rebar is the only thing preventing her from bleeding out right now. If they pull it. She dies. From Trauma Bay 1, Dr. Webb shouts, I need help over here. He's crashing. Reyes moves toward Webb's bay. Sarah doesn't look up, stays focused. Rebecca, listen carefully. I need you to stay calm and breathe slowly. Shallow breaths, don't move. It hurts so much. I know it does, but we're going to fix this. I need you to trust me. Rebecca nods, tears streaming. Sarah performs the fast exam, ultrasound probe moving quickly across the abdomen. Free fluid, significant. Liver laceration confirmed, but the rebar is tamponating the bleeding. They have to go now. Garcia, call the OR. Tell them we're coming up. I need vascular surgery standing by. They want an ETA. 2 minutes. Sarah secures the IV lines, reinforces the rebar stabilization, preps for transport. Rebecca's eyes are closing. Stay with me, Rebecca. Talk to me. Tell me about your family. I have 2 daughters. Good. What are their names? Sophie and Maya. Beautiful names. How old? 12 and 9. What do they like to do? Rebecca's voice is fading. Sophie plays soccer. Maya loves to draw. That's wonderful. Keep talking. Tell me more. Sarah keeps her engaged, keeps her conscious, keeps her alive. In Trauma Bay 1, the monitor flatlines. Dr. Webb freezes. He's in arrest. Someone start compressions. Reyes takes over immediately. Epi 1 milligram IV push. Charge to 200 joules. Compressions begin. Aggressive, rhythmic. But the patient isn't responding. Blood loss too severe. Pelvis shattered. Internal hemorrhage uncontrollable. Reyes works for 18 minutes. Then stops. Checks the monitor. Flatline. Time of death, 22:39 hours. Silence in the bay. Webb stands motionless. Face pale. Hands trembling. Reyes strips off his gloves. You did everything you could. Webb doesn't answer. Sarah's patient is in the OR by 22:41 hours. The surgical team is ready. Dr. Hammond, trauma surgeon, stands across from her. You're sure about the approach? Positive. If that liver's shredded when we pull the rebar, it's not. Focal laceration. We clamp proximally, extract the rebar, repair, and close. Hammond studies her. You've done this before. Twice. He nods. All right, let's move. Sarah makes the midline laparotomy incision. Fast. Controlled. Opens the abdomen. Blood wells up, but not catastrophically. The rebar is visible, penetrating the left lobe of the liver. She packs around it, isolates the hepatic vessels. Clamp. Hammond hands it over. She places vascular control. Ready? Go ahead. Sarah extracts the rebar in one smooth motion. Blood surges briefly, then stops. The liver laceration is visible now. Grade 3, repairable. She sutures quickly, precisely. Hammond watches in silence. Where'd you train? Army. Forward surgical. He nods slowly. Thought so. The repair takes 22 minutes. When she's done, the abdomen is packed and temporarily closed. Rebecca Hartman will survive. Sarah steps back, strips her gloves. Hammond extends his hand. Impressive work, doctor. She shakes it. Thank you. Outside the OR, Sarah leans against the wall. 2 critical patients. 1 saved, 1 lost. It's always this way. Dr. Reyes approaches. You okay? Fine. Chen, what you did in there. It's my job. It's more than that. You made calls under pressure that most attendings couldn't make. She looks at him. I've had practice. I know you have. He pauses. Colonel Brennan told me about your service, about what you did overseas. Her jaw tightens. That's in the past, is it? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like it's very much in your present. She doesn't respond. Reyes continues. You're not just an ER doctor, Chen. You're a combat surgeon trying to pretend you're not. And it's not working. I came here to start over. Then stop hiding. Own who you are. He walks away. Sarah stands alone in the hallway. In the distance, a helicopter lands on the roof, rotor blades thumping. The sound pulls her back. For just a moment, she's not in a hospital. She's in the desert. Dust everywhere. Heat crushing. The sound of choppers bringing in wounded. The sound of people screaming. The sound of her own voice shouting orders. She closes her eyes. Breathes. 4 counts in. Hold. 4 counts out. When she opens them, she's back. The hallway. The hospital. The present. But the past is always there, waiting. At 0400 hours, she checks on Rebecca Hartman in the ICU. Stable. Intubated. Sedated. Vitals holding steady. Sarah reviews the post-op orders, makes minor adjustments. Nurse Garcia approaches quietly. Dr. Chen, that was incredible. You saved her life. Sarah closes the tablet. We all did. No, you did. The rest of us just assisted. Sarah doesn't argue, just nods and leaves. In the locker room, she sits on the bench, exhausted. Her hands rest on her knees, steady, always steady. She thinks about Carlos Mendez, the patient they lost, 28 years old, someone's son. Maybe someone's husband, maybe someone's father, gone. She thinks about Rebecca Hartman, 42 years old, mother of 2, alive. The balance never makes sense, but it's the reality. She changes out of her scrubs, opens her locker. The photograph is there. She doesn't take it out this time, just looks at it. 4 faces, 3 ghosts, 1 survivor. She closes the locker, leaves. Drives home as the sun rises over the city. The department meeting is scheduled for 0800 hours the following morning. Sarah sits near the back, coffee in hand, exhausted from the night shift, but present. Dr. Helen Sarkar, Chief of Emergency Medicine, stands at the head of the conference room. Last night was both a success and a tragedy. We saved 2 out of 3 critical patients from the construction site collapse. Chen's management of the abdominal impalement was exemplary. Dr. Reyes stabilized the chest trauma patient, who's now recovering well. She pauses. We lost Mr. Mendez. Crush injury with catastrophic pelvic hemorrhage. He arrested before we could achieve hemostasis. Silence fills the room. Dr. Webb sits 3 rows ahead, head down, shoulders tense. Sarkar continues. I want a full review this afternoon, but there's something else we need to address. She looks directly at Sarah. Doctor? Chen, would you join me up here? Sarah's chest tightens. She doesn't move. Dr. Chen. Reluctantly, she stands, walks to the front. Every eye follows her. Sarkar's voice remains professional. I received a call yesterday from Colonel Brennan. He's currently recovering in our ICU from the GSW repair Dr. Chen performed. Murmurs around the room. Colonel Brennan informed me that Dr. Chen is not simply an emergency physician. She's a former Army trauma surgeon. Captain Sarah Chen. 4th Forward Surgical Team. 2 combat deployments. Afghanistan, 2011 to 2013. The murmurs grow louder. Sarah's jaw tightens. Sarkar turns to her. Is this accurate? Sarah's voice is quiet but steady. Yes. Why wasn't this disclosed during your hiring? Hiring process. Because it wasn't required. My civilian credentials were sufficient. It's highly relevant experience. It's past experience. I came here to practice medicine, not to be defined by where I served. Sarkar studies her for a moment, then nods. I understand. However, I believe this team deserves to know who they're working alongside. She addresses the room. Dr. Chen has performed over 300 trauma surgeries in combat conditions. She's managed injuries most of us will never encounter, and she's chosen to bring that expertise here, to this hospital, to help save civilian lives. A pause. I think that deserves recognition. Scattered applause begins, then grows. Sarah stands rigid, uncomfortable, exposed. After the meeting, she walks quickly toward the exit. Dr. Patel catches up. Chen, wait. She doesn't stop. Chen, come on, that was amazing. Why didn't you tell anyone? Because I didn't want this. Want what? She stops. Turns. I didn't want to be Captain Chen. I wanted to be Dr. Chen. I wanted to start fresh. But why hide it? Her eyes harden. Because Captain Chen watched 19-year-olds bleed out in the sand. Captain Chen held pressure on wounds that couldn't be fixed. Captain Chen lost her entire team in one day. Her voice cracks slightly. I came here to save people who can actually be saved. People with treatable injuries. Not kids with their limbs blown off who die anyway. Patel's expression softens. Chen, I'm sorry. I didn't come here for sympathy. I came here to forget. She walks away. He doesn't follow. Later that afternoon, Sarah enters Colonel Brennan's ICU room. He's sitting up, eating solid food, color much improved. He sees her and smiles slightly. Captain, I've asked you not to call me that. Old habits. She checks his chart on the tablet. Doesn't make eye contact. Your chest tube is out. Labs are normal. You'll be discharged tomorrow morning if tonight goes well. Good. Silence. Then he speaks. I didn't mean to expose you. She looks up. Yes, you did. He sighs. All right. Yes, I did. Why? Because you saved my life. And because people should know what you're capable of. I don't want recognition. I want to be left alone. He sets down his fork. Captain, I've seen a lot of soldiers come home. Most of them try to run from what they were. But you can't outrun your past. I'm not running. Then what are you doing? She finally meets his eyes. I'm trying to survive. He holds her gaze. Then stop pretending you're someone you're not. She doesn't respond, just turns and leaves. In the break room an hour later, Sarah sits alone with cold coffee. Dr. Webb enters, hesitates, then sits across from her. I owe you an apology. She doesn't look up. For what? For treating you like you didn't belong. Like you were just filling a residency slot. I was wrong. You weren't wrong. I am filling a slot. No, you're not. He leans forward. Chen, last night I had a patient dying in front of me and I froze. I didn't know what to do. But you? You didn't even hesitate. I've had more practice. I know. And that's exactly my point. You've been tested in ways most of us can't imagine. You've seen things we'll never see. And somehow you're still here, still saving lives. She looks at him. That doesn't make me better than anyone else. Maybe not better, but different. And we need different. He stands, extends his hand. I'm glad you're here, Chen. She looks at his hand for a moment. Then, takes it. Thank you. He nods and leaves. Sarah sits in the silence. For the first time in months, she doesn't feel invisible. That evening in the parking lot, Nurse Kelly calls out as Sarah heads to her car. Dr. Chen, wait. Sarah stops, turns. Kelly jogs over. I just wanted to say what you did last night was extraordinary. And I'm sorry if I ever made you feel unwelcome. Sarah is surprised. You didn't. I did. I saw you as the new resident, someone to boss around. But you're not that at all. She searches for words. You're kind of a legend. Sarah almost smiles. I'm just a doctor. No, you're more than that. Kelly grins. See you tomorrow, Captain. She walks away. Sarah gets in her car, sits behind the wheel. And for the first time in years, the weight on her chest feels lighter. Not gone, but lighter. At home that night, Sarah's apartment feels different, less empty somehow. She opens her closet, pulls down the box from the top shelf. Inside, her uniform, her insignia, her commendation. She sits on the floor, stares at the folded fabric, runs her fingers over the name tape. Chen. She thinks about her team, about Lieutenant Webb, about Sergeant Okonkwo, about Corporal Diaz. All gone. But she's still here, still fighting, still saving lives. She picks up the commendation certificate, reads it for the first time in years, for exceptional bravery and skill under fire. She folds it carefully, places it back in the box. But this time, she doesn't hide the box away. She leaves it on her desk, where she can see it. A reminder, not of what she lost, but of what she carries forward. She sits at her desk, opens her laptop, drafts an email to Dr. Sarkar. Subject, trauma training proposal. She types for an hour, outlining a program. Combat casualty care principles adapted for civilian emergency medicine. High-pressure decision-making, damage control surgery, hemorrhage management. Everything she learned in the desert. Everything that could save lives here. She reads it over twice, then sends it. Closes the laptop, leans back in her chair, and smiles, just a little. For the first time since leaving the army, she doesn't feel like she's running. She feels like she's building something. Something that matters. Outside her window, the city lights glow against the dark sky. Somewhere out there, people are getting hurt. Accidents, violence, tragedy, and tomorrow. She'll be ready. Not as Captain Chen, not as Dr. Chen, but as both. Finally whole. 2 weeks later, the morning briefing is different. Dr. Sarkar stands at the front, but Sarah stands beside her. The conference room is packed. Attendings, residents, nurses, paramedics. Everyone's here. Sarkar clears her throat. Effective immediately, Dr. Sarah Chen will assume an expanded role in our department. In addition to her clinical duties, she'll be leading a new trauma response training program based on combat casualty care principles. Murmurs of approval ripple through the room. Sarkar continues. Her experience in forward surgical operations provides a unique perspective on high-pressure decision-making. After what we witnessed 2 weeks ago, I'd be negligent not to utilize her expertise. She looks at Sarah. Dr. Chen, would you like to add anything? Sarah steps forward, hesitant at first. I'm not here to change how you practice medicine. I'm here to share what I learned when there were no second chances. She looks around the room. Trauma doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It doesn't care about your experience level or your confidence. It just happens. And when it does, you either act decisively or you lose the patient. Pause. I'm going to teach you how to act. The room erupts in applause. Sarah doesn't smile, but her shoulders relax. Just slightly. The first training session begins that afternoon in the simulation lab. 12 residents, 4 attendings, Sarah at the front. A high-fidelity mannequin lies on the table. Simulated injuries, fake blood, realistic wounds. Sarah's voice is calm, authoritative. Scenario: 24-year-old male, gunshot wound to the chest. Blood pressure, 78/50. Heart rate, 138. What's your first move? Dr. Ellis, a second-year resident, steps forward. Just X-ray? He'll be dead before the radiology tech arrives. Next. Ellis hesitates. Dr. Kim speaks up. 2 large-bore IVs. Massive transfusion protocol. O-negative blood. Better. But you're still thinking like you have time. You don't. Sarah moves to the mannequin. You need to determine if he's bleeding into his chest or abdomen immediately. So you perform a fast exam while your nurse establishes IV access. You don't wait. You multitask. She demonstrates. Fast, efficient. Positive for hemothorax. Now what? Chest tube, Kim answers. Correct. But you're also monitoring his pressure continuously. If it keeps dropping after the tube, you're not done. You might need a thoracotomy right here in the ED. Ellis's eyes widen. Here? Not in the OR? If he's dying, yes. We open the chest and clamp the bleeding vessel. I've done it in a tent with a headlamp and no backup. You can do it here with full resources. The room is silent. Then Ellis nods. Show us. Sarah picks up the scalpel. Watch closely. For the next 40 minutes, she walks them through procedures most have only read about. Emergency thoracotomy, resuscitative endovascular balloon occlusion, damage control laparotomy. Her hands move with absolute certainty. When the session ends, the residents cluster around her with questions. She answers each one patiently. Dr. Wedd watches from the observation window. Dr. Reyes joins him. She's a natural teacher. Webb nods. I underestimated her. We all did. In the cafeteria that evening, Sarah sits with her dinner tray. Turkey sandwich, apple, water. Dr. Reyes approaches. Mind if I join you? Go ahead. He sits, takes a bite of his food. That was an impressive session today. Thank you. You're good at this. Teaching, I mean. I've had practice. We trained medics in the field, taught them procedures they'd never imagined doing, because if they didn't learn, people died. Reyes is quiet for a moment. Can I ask you something personal? You can ask. Why did you really leave the army? She sets down her sandwich. I lost someone. In combat? No. After. At Walter Reed. A Marine. Both legs amputated. Sepsis set in post-op. We did everything correctly, but he didn't make it. Her voice is flat, controlled. The day before he died, he told me he wasn't afraid because I was his doctor. He trusted me completely, and then he died anyway. Reyes doesn't interrupt. I couldn't do it anymore. Couldn't be the person everyone relied on and still fail them. So you left. So I left. She looks at him directly. I came here thinking I could be normal, just another emergency physician. But I'm not normal. I never will be. Reyes leans back. Good. She blinks. What? We don't need normal, Chen. We need you, exactly as you are. He stands. Picks up his tray. Don't forget that. He leaves. Sarah sits alone, but she's smiling. Just a little. That evening, Sarah visits Colonel Brennan one final time before his discharge. He's dressed in civilian clothes, moving slowly but steadily. Captain. Doctor. He grins. Fair enough. She hands him discharge paperwork. Follow up with your primary physician in 1 week. No heavy lifting for 6 weeks. If you experience chest pain, shortness of breath, or fever, return immediately. Understood. He takes the papers, then looks at her. I heard about your new training program. Word travels fast. It does. He pauses. I'm proud of you. She's caught off guard. You don't know me well enough to be proud. I know enough. You saved my executive officer years ago. You saved me 2 weeks ago. And now you're going to save countless others by teaching what you know. He extends his hand. It's an honor, Captain. She takes his hand. It's Doctor. He smiles. Not to me. She almost laughs. Almost. 1 week later, another departmental meeting. Dr. Sarkar makes an announcement. I'm pleased to report that Dr. Chen's trauma training program has been approved for hospital-wide implementation. Starting next month, all emergency department staff will undergo quarterly simulation training. Applause. Sarkar continues. Additionally, I'm promoting Dr. Chen to Assistant Director of Trauma Services. Louder applause. Sarah stands, nods acknowledgement. Doctor. Wed is the first to stand and clap. Then Reyes, then Kelly, then everyone else. Sarah's throat tightens. She didn't ask for this, but she's not running anymore. In the locker room after her shift, Sarah opens her locker. The photograph is still there. She takes it out, unfolds it carefully. 4 faces staring back at her. She traces each one with her finger. I'm still here, she whispers. Still fighting, still saving lives. She folds it again, but this time, she doesn't put it back in the locker. She places it in her wallet, where she can carry it always, not as a burden, as a reminder of who she was, who she is, and who she's becoming. Outside, the evening sky darkens. Sarah walks to her car, gets in, sits for a moment, then starts the engine, drives home. Inside her apartment, she makes tea, sits at her desk, opens her laptop, begins drafting the next training module, Advanced Airway Management, Hemorrhage Control. Tactical Combat Casualty Care, adapted for urban environments. She types for hours. When she finally stops, it's past midnight. She saves the document, closes the laptop, looks at the photograph now sitting on her desk. 4 people who shaped her. 3 who are gone, 1 who remains. She picks up the frame, holds it. Thank you, she says quietly, then sets it down, turns off the light, goes to bed, and for the first time in years, she sleeps without nightmares. Because she's finally stopped running from her past and started building her future. 3 years later, the emergency department hums with controlled energy, patients in every bay, nurses moving efficiently, residents calling out orders with confidence. Sarah walks through, tablet in hand, observing. Dr. Kim is managing a multi-trauma case, calm, methodical, no hesitation. Dr. Ellis performs a chest tube insertion, smooth, precise. They've learned well. Nurse Kelly approaches. Dr. Chen. Incoming GSW, ETA 3 minutes. Who's taking it? Kim. Good. I'll supervise. Kelly nods and moves. Sarah watches her team. Work. 3 years ago, they hesitated. Now they act. The patient arrives. Male, early 30s. Gunshot wound to the abdomen. Dr. Kim takes command immediately. 2 large-bore IVs. Activate MTP. Fast exam now. Nurse Garcia moves without being told. Kim performs the ultrasound. Fast, confident. Positive for free fluid. He's bleeding internally. She glances at Sarah. Sarah nods but says nothing. Kim turns back to the team. Call the OR. We're taking him up. The team functions like a machine. Sarah steps back. She's not needed here anymore. From the observation deck, she watches the organized chaos below. Dr. Reyes joins her. You've built something remarkable here. They built it. I just showed them the way. Don't diminish what you've done. She smiles faintly. I'm not. I'm being honest. Reyes looks down at the efficient operation below. You ever think about going back? To the military? She shakes her head. No. That chapter is closed. You're sure? Completely sure. She looks at him. I found something better here. Later that afternoon, a conference room fills with hospital leadership and external observers from 6 other hospitals. Dr. Sarkar introduces Sarah. Dr. Chen's trauma protocol has reduced our critical mortality rate by 28% over 3 years. We've received requests from hospitals across 3 states wanting to implement her program. Sarah steps forward. What we've accomplished isn't revolutionary. It's disciplined. We trained our people to act under pressure, to trust their training, to never hesitate when seconds matter. She clicks to the next slide. Data, outcomes, lives saved. Reduced time to intervention, increased survival rates, improved confidence across all experience levels. She looks around the room. This works because we stopped treating trauma as an exception. We approach every shift with the mindset that chaos can happen at any moment. Because it can. Silence. Then sustained applause. That evening, Sarah stands on the hospital rooftop, watching the sunset. Dr. Webb finds her there. Didn't expect to find you up here. Needed some air. He leans on the railing beside her. 3 years ago, I thought you were just another resident trying to survive. I was. No. You were always more than that. I just couldn't see it. She looks at him. None of us could, he continues. But now we do. And this department is better because of you. It's better because everyone stepped up. They stepped up because you showed them how. They stand in comfortable silence. You ever regret leaving the army? Webb asks. She thinks carefully. I regret what I lost. The people I couldn't save. But I don't regret leaving. What did you gain? She looks down at the emergency department below. Lights blazing. Lives being saved. Purpose. Without the weight of war. She turns to him. That's enough. 3 months later, Sarah receives an email. Subject, speaking invitation, Veterans Transition Program. They want her to speak to veterans transitioning to civilian life. To share her story of finding purpose after service. She stares at the email for a long time. Almost closes it. Then stops. Types a response. I would be honored. Sends it. Closes the laptop. Leans back. The weight on her chest is almost gone now. Not completely. It never will be, but light enough to breathe. 2 years after that, morning briefing. Dr. Sarkar stands at the front. Today is her last day before retirement. It's been an honor leading. Adding this department, but it's time for new leadership. She looks directly at Sarah. Dr. Sarah Chen will assume the role of Chief of Emergency Medicine effective immediately. The room erupts in applause. Sarah stands, shakes Sarkar's hand. Sarkar leans close, whispers, "You've earned this, never doubt it." Sarah nods, takes the podium, looks at her team, her family. I'm not here to change what we've built together. I'm here to keep building it. She pauses. We save lives. Every single shift, every single day, and we do it together. Applause fills the room. She steps down, and for the first time since leaving the army, she feels completely at home. Images flash through time. Sarah teaching a new class of residents, hands-on demonstrations, patient guidance, a plaque mounted in the main corridor, Chen Trauma Protocol, saving lives through preparation. Sarah speaking at a veterans conference, sharing her journey, inspiring others. A framed letter on her office wall from Colonel Brennan. You saved more than my life. You reminded me what true service looks like. Sarah in her office late at night, reviewing cases, planning improvements, smiling. Sarah's voice, calm and steady, speaks over the images. I used to think leaving the army meant leaving who I was, but I was wrong. I didn't leave myself behind. I evolved. I took everything I learned in the worst moments of my life and used it to create something better. Not just for me, for everyone who walks through those doors, because that's what service really means. It's not about the uniform. It's about showing up every single day and refusing to quit, no matter what. Final image. Sarah walks through the emergency department during a busy shift. Her team works around her, confident, prepared, alive. She pauses at the entrance, looks back at everything she's built, smiles, then walks forward into the organized chaos, ready for whatever comes next. The screen fades to black, text appears, dedicated to all who serve, in uniform and out, and to those who continue the mission long after the war ends. The text fades, silence, then one final image. The photograph from Sarah's locker, 4 faces in desert tan. But now it's not hidden away. It sits proudly on her desk, a reminder, not of loss, but of legacy. Not of endings, but of continuations. The camera pulls back slowly. Sarah's office comes into view. Diplomas on the wall, commendations, training certificates. And in the center, that photograph. 4 people who changed her life. 3 who gave everything. 1 who carries them forward. Every single day. The camera continues pulling back. Through the window, the emergency department is visible. Lights bright, people moving, lives being saved. Sarah appears in the frame. Walking toward the trauma bay, tablet in hand, purpose in her stride. She's called to an incoming case, multiple vehicle collision. She doesn't hesitate, just moves, because that's who she is. Not Captain Chen, not just Dr. Chen, but both. Finally whole. The camera holds on the emergency department. The doors opening and closing, ambulances arriving, the constant rhythm of emergency medicine. And somewhere in that controlled chaos, Sarah Chen saves another life, then another, and another, because she stopped running from her past and started using it to build the future, for herself, for her team, for every patient who comes through those doors. The image fades slowly. The sound of monitors beeping continues. Then silence. End.